Well, welcome everybody, or in Ireland we say Diagwit, which is the Irish-speaking, would say God be with you, which means hello. And your reply to that is Dies Mura Gwit. Now, that's God and Mary be with you. Now, if you really want to drag it out, what you can say is Dies Mura is Pádraig, and put every single saint you want in there, Gwit. But really, all we want to say is Fáilte, or if you're a dub, how are you? So welcome, even in the middle of winter, to a too sunny Arizona. Yes, I know it's freezing in a lot of places. Yes, I understand that. But 20 years in Alaska, rainy mornings, snowy days and dark evenings don't sound too bad. First, I'd like to thank the Irish Club of Alaska for this monthly lockdown sanity event, as they call it, you know. And particularly to Kate and Dawn, who got the word out, Tom, who's running the Zoom, Peggy for being super Peggy, who keeps us all in check, and all those businesses who support the Irish Club up there in Alaska, and particularly O'Reilly's Pub, who really do a lot. And I can't understand this because O'Reilly's, that's really a Norwegian name, isn't it? Also, I mustn't forget Natalie, my BFF, who normally sits here and plays with me, music with me, and today she's leading our geek squad. And she's explained all these things that she's doing and what's happening up there and all the rest of it. But I haven't a clue, so I'm not even going to try and remember any of it. So, and goes wrong, just blame here about her. The idea for today's presentation came from people coming up to me after sessions, particularly in the US, and saying, that's a lovely song, but what does it mean? What's it about, you know? Now, in Ireland, we know all these things because it's part of our history and part of our heritage. But we actually, our songs, along with our music and dance, have always been important to us. And many of our songs tell the stories and give us an insight into past events, their effect on people, how it made them feel, laugh, cry, handle their tragedies, and build our hopes for the future. Songs are their stories. Frank Hart, who was a tremendous singer in Dublin and collected tremendous amount of songs all over the country and all over the world, said that those in power write the history. Those who suffer write the songs. And we Irish have an awful lot of songs. And Keneally the poet said, all the songs are living ghosts waiting for a living voice. So today what I did was I put together a few songs, and some people made some suggestions of songs that they heard me play, and they couldn't understand what the hell they were about, but you know. So I'm going to start off with a little theme of love, courtship, and rejection. And the first song I'm going to play is a song called Eileen Og, which was written by Percy French. Now, this sort of story of a young fellow who, because of the girl's beauty, he was too shy to ask her out. Now, shyness was one part of his reluctance, but even when I was growing up in Ireland, much later, we were reminded by the clergy, don't be too forward. God is watching. So, Eileen Og. And I want to dedicate this to someone we lost a few years ago, Eileen Monaghan, or really Eileen Og. And Eileen Og stands for Young Eileen. Eileen Og, and that's the darling's name, is round all the barony. Her beauty, it was famous. If we loved her, who was there to blame us? Wasn't she the pride of Petrivore? But her beauty made us all so shy. Not a single man would look her in the eye. Boys, oh boys, well that's the reason why we're in mourning for the pride of Petrivore. Eileen Og, me heart is growing grey ever since the day that you wandered far away. Eileen Og, there's more fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the pride of Petrivore. Friday at the fair in Ballantubber, Eileen met McGrath the cattle jobber. I'd like to set we mark upon the robber, for he stole away the pride of Petrovorn. He never seemed to notice her at all, even when she oogled him from underneath the shawl. Looking big and masterful when she was looking small, most provoking for the pride of Petrovorn. Eileen, oh, me heart is growing grey, ever since the day that you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's more fish in the sea, none of them like the pride of Petrovorn. So it went as it was in the beginning. Eileen Oak was bent upon the winning. Big McGrath contentedly was grinning, big courted by the pride of Petrovorn. Says he, I know a girl that would knock you into bits. Who it is now, Eileen? She almost lost her wits. The outcome of the ruction is that now the beggar sits with his arm around the pride of Petrovorn. Eileen, oh, me heart is growing grey, ever since the day that you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's more fish in the sea, none of them like the pride of Petrovorn. Boys, oh boys, with fate it's hard to grapple. Of me eye, 'tis Eileen was the apple. Now to see her walk into the chapel with the hardest featured man in Petrovorn. So boys, oh boys, you listen to what I say. When you do your courting, make no display. If you want them to run after you, just walk the other way, for they're all now like the pride of Petrovorn. Eileen, oh, me heart is growing grey, ever since the day that you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's more fish in the sea, none of them like the pride of Petrovorn. Thank you. Now, there's a bit of advice that they give in the end of that, you know, if you wanted to run after you, walk the other way. Well, believe me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, all right, the next song I want to sing is called She Moves Through the Fair. Now, this song, I've heard it being introduced as next market day and will not be long till our wedding day. And the music appears to be an old tune, and words have been added to it over the years and the rest of it. Many variations are found in Ireland, Scotland, and it was published first in 1909. Now you're well versed in everything. My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till next market day. She stepped away from me, then she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her move here and move there. She made her way homeward with one star away, as a swan in the evening moves over the lake. The people were saying no two were wed, but one had a sorrow that never was said. I smiled as she passed with her goods and her gear. That was the last that I saw of my dear. Last night she came to me, my dead love, she came in. So softly she came, that her feet made no din. And she laid her hand on me, this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. My young love said to me, my mother won't mind. This is a song which is from 1990, and it's also a kind of an Irish love song. And it's by a group called the Sog Doctors. And it stayed in the #1 position in the Irish chart for 9 weeks. And I was amazed when I heard that it wasn't banned, as a lot of other songs were. But it was, because as I said to you, I think we got over the thing that God is watching, you know, because I think we suddenly realized that God might be watching, but he didn't mind, you know. So this is a little song called I Used to Love Her. I have fallen for another, she can make her own way home. Even if she asked me, well, I'd let her go alone. Well, I used to see her up the chapel when she went to Sunday Mass. When she went up to receive, I kneel down and watch her pass. Glory of her hand. Well, I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, it's gone. All my love is gone. Oh, it's gone, long, long gone. Do you remember her collecting for concern on Christmas Eve? She was on a 48-hour fast, just water and black tea. And I walked right up and made an ostentatious contribution. And I winked at her to tell her I'd seduce her in the future when she's feeling looser. Well, I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, it's gone. All my loving is gone. Oh, it's gone. Long, long gone. And now you know the truth of it, she's no longer my obsession. But the thoughts and dreams I had of her would take 6 months in confession. See, I met this young one Friday night and she's into free expression. And her mission is to rid the world of sinful repression. Then we had a session, 'cause I used to love her once. Long, long time ago, I used to love her once. She's gone, all my loving is gone, all my love is gone. Whoa, 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 gone. I have fallen for another, she can make her own way home. Oh, so sad. The next song I'd like to sing is one under which is a theme that I've been working on for some other sort of presentations, and it's the great hunger and emigration. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to sing. The song is called Skibbereen, but there was many famines in Ireland, and this was a great hunger, they call it, rather than a famine. In Ireland before the actual Great Famine, which is 1845 to 49, when so many perished in it. But the difference in this occasion was that there was it was a prolonged famine because it lasted for quite a few years. Now, this is a song which was written in the 18th, it was published in 1880, and it tells the story of what actually happened to these people when they were being evicted and thrown out onto the in this it was December and the rest of it, and what happened. It's once a son asking his father a very simple question. You say that Ireland is so great. Well, why don't you go back there? Why did you leave it? So it's a song called Skibbereen. I picked this one because Skibbereen was one of the worst hit areas in the actual famine years themselves. Now, before I start this, I'd like to talk about the heroes of the Great Famine. And these are the people who did contribute to it, The Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, he donated £1,000 and sent 3 shiploads of food up to Drogheda. Then we had a committee of coloured citizens in Philadelphia. They gave Frederick Douglass money to bring over when he was visiting Ireland. And then the Jewish community in New York raised hundreds of dollars. But the one that I really am proud of is the Choctaw Nation. They, in actual fact, took a collection of $170, which was a tremendous amount of money in this time, particularly for the nation, Choctaw Nation, who had just travelled from on the Trail of Tears. Now, there is a memorial in Ireland to this, and we always appreciate it. And again, thank you very much. I'm fortunate that we have some friends who are members of the Choctaw Nation. And one time at Thanksgiving, we had them over for dinner up in Alaska, and I said, this is not because the Puritans and all that arrived there and all the rest of that. I'm saying thank you very much to the Choctaw Nation and for their help that they gave the Irish during the famine and the thought of it. Skibbereen. Oh, Father dear, I oft times hear you think we of Erin's Isle. Our lovely greens, our valleys green, our mountains rich and wide. They say it is a lovely land wherein a prince might dwell. Oh, why did you abandon it? The reason to me tell. Oh, son, I loved my native land with energy and pride. Until the blight came o'er the land, my sheep and cattle died. The rents and rates I couldn't pay, them could not redeem. And that's a cruel reason why I left old Skibbereen. Well do I remember that bleak December day. The landlord and the sheriff came to drive us all away. He set our house on fire with that cursed English spleen. And that's another reason why I left old Skibbereen. Your mother too, God rest her soul, fell on the snowy ground. She fainted in her anguish at the desolation round. She tried to rise but passed away from life to mortal dream. And we buried her in a quiet spot beyond in Skibbereen. Oh, well do I remember the year of 48. With Irishmen, well, I arose to fight against our fate. They hunt us on the mountainside as traitors to the Queen. And that's another reason why I left old Skibbereen. and you were only 2 years old, and feeble was your frame. I couldn't leave you with my friends, you bore your father's name. So I wrapped you in my coat of more in the dead of night unseen, and loud and high I said goodbye, goodbye to Skibbereen. Oh, Father dear, the time will come when an answer to the call. Oh, Irishmen, both young and strong, will rally to the call. I'll lead the van beneath the flag, beneath the flag of green. And loud and high I'll raise the cry, remember Skibbereen. Thank you, Natalie. This is a song which I got from Frank Hart, and it tells the story of the many who went to emigrated over to Canada, and the hope that they had when they're going and what they were going to be, and it was going to be a land of plenty and the rest of it. So it's called The Green Fields of Canada. Just a second. Yeah, technology. Farewell to the groves of shillelagh and shamrock. Farewell to the girdles of old Ireland all round. May the heart be as merry as ever I would wish them. And far across the ocean I'm bound. My father is old and my mother's quite feeble. To leave their own country, it grieves their hearts so. And tears down their cheeks in great drops they are rolling. To think they must die upon some foreign shore. But no matter to me where my bones may be buried, if in peace and contentment I can spend my life. Oh, the green fields of Canada, they daily are blooming. It's there I'll put an end to my miseries and strife. Then it's pack up your sea stores and tarry no longer. $10 a week isn't very bad pay, with no taxes or tithes to devour up your wages. You're on the green fields in North America. The sheep run unshorn and the land's gone to Russia. The handyman's gone and the winders are creel. Away across the ocean, journeyman tailors and fiddlers who played out the old mountain reel. Ah, but I mind the time when old Ireland was flourishing. Lots of our tradesmen, they worked for good pay. But since our manufacturing crossed the Atlantic, now we must follow to North America. The timber grows thick round the slopes of Columbia, with Douglas and grandeur 200 feet tall. the salmon and sturgeon down streamlet and river. The high rocky mountains look down on it all. On the prairies and plains, sure the wheat waves so golden. The maples give us sugar for to sweeten our tea. And you won't want for corn cob way out in Saskatchewan. And you're on the green fields of North America. And now to conclude and to finish my ditty, if ever friendless Irishman chances my way, with the best in the house I will treat them and welcome. At home on the green fields of North America. Thank you. Well, when they got there, by the way, this is water. That's groundwater. It's groundwater. When they got there, it was anything but welcoming. And many actually turned back who could afford to turn back. But this is a song about, it's called Do Me Justice, and I learned this from Len Graham. And it kind of tells you the story of, when they got there, the likes of No Irish Need Apply. Well, John Poole wrote a great song in 1864, and no, I wasn't there. Missed it by a few years. But it actually, it was called No Irish Need Apply, and the last verse is, Old Ireland on the battlefield a lasting fame has made. We all have heard of Mar's men and Corcoran's 69th Brigade. Though fools mouth flout and bigots rant, and fanatics may cry, yet when they want good fighting men, the Irish can apply. Oh, here I am from Donegal, I feel quite discontented, for to see the way that we're run down, not highly represented. For you see it is a general rule to make old Pat a knave or fool, but never mind, we'll play it cool and stand up for old Ireland. Do us justice, treat us fair, and we won't be discontented, but I won't be laughed at anywhere, but fairly represented. Now Mr. Punch with his literature, he treats us very badly, and when he draws our caricatures, he depicts us rather sadly. With crooked limbs and villainous face, he thus depicts the Irish race. We think it is a sad disgrace, and we say so in all Ireland. Do us justice, treat us fair, and I won't be discontented, but I won't be laughed at anywhere, but fairly represented. When on the stage I do appear, with a thundering big shillelagh, with a ragged coat and a tattered hat, you'd think I'd come out gaily, with not a word of common sense. They don't know when they give offence, but carry on at Pat's expense. Why don't they come to Ireland? Do me justice, treat me fair, and I won't be discontented, but I won't be laughed at anywhere, but fairly represented. They say we're dirty and lazy got, but what's the use to grumble? And if they visit an Irish cot, they're made welcome, though it's humble. In country works the country round, or where hard work is to be found, in the railway tunnels underground, you'll find the boys from Ireland. So do us justice, treat us fair, and we won't be discontented. Well, we won't be laughed at anywhere, but fairly represented. 'Tis true that I do like a glass. It makes me feel quite frisky. I'm very fond of an Irish lass, and I'm partial to the whiskey. I'm very quiet when left alone, but I do what I like with what's my own, and woe be to those foes a cone Who dare run down all Ireland, do us justice, treat us fair, and we won't be discontented. Well, we won't be laughed at anywhere, but fairly represented. Sinna will. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is another song of the Irish working hard overseas and the rest of it. And I want to dedicate this to Lucy and Aaron because some years ago we went on a tour with Rogues and Wenches to Ireland. And we were out on the Aran Islands. And I remember us singing this song, which is called Clare to Hear. And it wasn't actually very far to Clare from there, you know. But this song was written by Ralph McTell. And Ralph McTell was an English guy, and he was working on the building sites, and he met a crowd of Irish guys. And he said to one of them, "It must be very strange to be here in London after the place you come from." And the Irish guy responded by saying, "Yes, it's a long, long way from Clare to here." There's four of us and we share a room. We work hard for the crack. Getting up late on Sundays, we never get to Mass. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way. Gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. When Friday night it comes around, Terry's into fighting. Well, we ma would like a letter home, but I'm just too tired for writing. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way that gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It almost breaks my heart when I think of Josephine. Well, I promised her that I'd come back, pockets full of green. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Well, the only time I feel us right is when I'm into drinking. Kind of eases up my thoughts, stop my mind from thinking. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way. It gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. I thought I heard a piper play. Maybe it's just a notion. I thought I saw white horses dancing on the Atlantic Ocean. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. And yes, it is a long way to Clare from here. I'd like to jump in, watching time and all that sort of a thing. And I wanted in our rebellions. We had many rebellions. We had 15 big ones in Ireland, and the score at the end of it all was 14-1. And it's funny that this year is the year of the ceasefire or the truce, which began on the 11th of July 1921. And the signing of the treaty was actually 16th December 1921. But I want to pick a song that I really like. It's called The Bold Fenian Men, and tells about the aspirations of people. I'll bring it up a little bit. 'Twas down by the glen side I met an old woman, a plucking young nettles. She ne'er saw me coming. I listened a while to the song she was humming. Glory-o, glory-o, to the bold Fenian men. It's 60 long years since I saw the moon beaming on strong manly forms, their eyes with hope gleaming. I see them again, sure they're all my daydreaming. Glory-o, glory-o, to the bold Fenian men. When I was a young girl, a marching and drilling, awoke in the glen side, sounds awesome and thrilling. I see them again, sure they're all my sad dreaming. Glory-o, glory-o, to the bold Fenian men. Some died by the wayside, some died with a stranger, and wise men have told us their cause was a failure. They loved poor old Ireland, and they never feared danger. Glory-o, glory-o, to the bold Fenian men. I passed on my way, God be praised that I met her. By life long or short, I'll never forget her. We may have great men, but we'll never have better. Glory-o, glory-o, to the bold Fenian men. Thank you. One thing about Irish and the history and all this and revolutions and all that, there was always another side to this. It was the people who were family, friends, husbands, wives, and all this sort of thing, who suffered a lot, not just at the time, but for many, many years afterwards. This is a song I'd like to sing now, which tells about Grace. It's a song called Grace, and it was she married Joseph Plunkett a few hours before he was executed. And unfortunately, her husband, her in-laws refused to honour her husband's will. And she spent a lot of years serving the Sinn Féin cause. And she actually, she was one of the anti-treaty, and she actually was locked up in the same prison that he was held in, Kilmainham Jail. So it's called Grace for Grace Gifford Plunkett. As we gather in the chapel here, in old Kilmainham jail. I think about these last few weeks. Will they say we failed? Our school days, they have told us we must yearn for liberty. But all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love, I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these brave men, my love for this land. But when Porry called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They take you out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. As I walk out this May morn, my thoughts will be of you. I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I love so much that I could see his blood upon the road. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye. Thank you. I'm going to sing a song about, this especially for Penny Cutstein, and she'd always ask me about, what's the song about, you know? And in Ireland we have travellers, and Luke Shule they call them, the walking people. And they for years have been sort of on the outside of society, and recently they've been getting a lot more recognition. But, you know, the thing about them was that they we're in Great Britain, of course, but they're also in the United States, and apparently 10,000 or so apparently in 1845 during the famine came here. And they have their in residence in Ohio travelers, Georgia travelers, Texas travelers, Mississippi travelers. And then the Irish traveling community of Murphy's Village, South Carolina. It's worth it go and have a look at how well they've actually done for themselves, seeing that they've always been treated as very much outside of society. A song written by Hugh McCall. Born in the middle of the afternoon on a horse-drawn carriage on the old A5. The big 12-wheeler shook my bed. You can't stay here, the policeman said. You better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Born in the common by a building site where the ground was rutted by the tracks of wheels. The local Christian said to me, well, you lower the price of property. You better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Born at potato picking time in a tent in a tatty field. The farmer said the work's all done, it's time that you were moving on. You better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Born at the back of a hawthorn hedge where the black hole frost lay on the ground. No eastern kings came bearing gifts, instead the order came to shift. You better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Well, the eastern sky was full of stars, and one shone brighter than the rest. Well, the wise men came so stern and strict and brought the order to evict. You better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Wagon, tent or trailer born last month, last year or on far off day. There's always men who come and say you can't be born here today. Better get born someplace else. Get along, move along, get along, move along. Go, move, shift. Thank you. I'm going to sing a song about Dublin now, which was a very, it's not an old song, but it's about old places in Dublin. And it's called the Monto, or the Montgomery Monto. Well, Montgomery Street, Monto, was an actual very big red light district in the middle of Ireland at the end of the 18th century, and nearly made it a bit into the 19th century, except for the Legion of Merit, when we got our independence, closed it down. Now, the song itself was written in 1958, and it was meant as kind of a sort of a take on some fun incidents that happened. And so one of the first verses about the Buck Foster, the dirty old imposter. Well, these people, the wealthy, used to take young ladies up to the Furry Glen in the Phoenix Park and, for a walk in the moonlight, And then another verse about the Dublin Fusiliers who actually kept Monto going, and that they were going to end up being sent overseas. And then about the Invincibles, who were a group who assassinated some of the British administration in the Phoenix Park. And then the last verse in it, which is the Queen Victoria, when she came to see us, well, we all waved like good little Irish people, we did. And, the fact that she was, wasn't welcome wasn't really said, Well, if you got to Wingo, take her up to Ringo, where the waxy sing all the day. If you had your fill of porter and you can't go any further, give your man the order back to the quay. and take me up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take me up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. You heard of the Duke of Gloucester, the dirty owl imposter. He met a rotten loster up in the furry glen. He first put on his bowler and he buttoned up his trousers and he whistled for a growler and he said, my man, take me up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take me up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. You heard of the double and fusiliers, the dirty old bamboozlers. They went and got the chillers, 1, 2, 3. Marching from the linen haulers, one for every cannonball. Vicky's going to send them all o'er the sea. But first go up to Monto, Monto, Monto. First go up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. Well, when the Kerry total skinned the goat, O'Donnell caught them on the boat. He wished he'd never been afloat, the dirty skite, for it wasn't very sensible. Tell on the invincibles, they stuck her for the principals, day and night. Be going up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Be going up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. Now when the Tsararusha and the King of Prussia landed in the Phoenix in a big balloon, they asked the Polish band to play the Wearing of the Green, but the burghers in the depot didn't know the tune, so they all went up to Monto, 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 all went up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. Now the Queen, she came to call on us. She wanted to see all of us. I'm glad she didn't fall on us. She's 18 stone. Mr. Milo Mercy, is this all you've got to show to me? Well, no, ma'am, there's some more to see. Pogue Mahone, and he took her up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Took her up to Monto, Langaroo. To you and your old Dicky-Doo. Thank you. Now, this is a Dublin song about a young lady who lived near Monto. And when we went there with the Rogues and Wenches, we actually did a tour of Monto. Now this is Dicey Reilly, who is the heart of the roll. Now the heart of the roll means the middle of the tobacco, which is always the best bit. Ah, poor old Dicey Reilly, she has taken to the sub. Poor old Dicey Reilly, she will never give it up. For it's off each morning to the hop. She goes in for another little drop, for the heart of the roll is Dicey Reilly. Ah, poor old Dicey Reilly, she has taken to the sub. Poor old Dicey Reilly, she will never give it up. And it's off each morning to the hop. She goes in for another little drop, for the heart of the roll is Dicey Reilly. She owns a little sweet shop at the corner of the street. Every evening after school I go to wash her feet. She leaves me there to mind the shop. She goes in for another little drop, for the heart of the roll is Dicey Reilly. Ah, poor old Dicey Reilly, she has taken to the sub. Poor old Dicey Reilly, she will never give it up. For it's off each morning to the hop. She goes in for another little drop, for the heart of the roll is Dicey Reilly. She walks along Fitzgibbon Street with an independent air. Down along by Simmer Hill at her the people stare. She says it's nearly 1:30. Time I went in for another little one, for the heart of the roll is Dicey Reilly. Ah, poor old Dicey Reilly, she has taken to the sub. Poor old Dicey Reilly, she will never give it up. For it's off each morning to the hop. she goes in for another little drop for the heart of the rowless dicey Reilly. I'll tell me ma when I go home, all the boys won't leave all the girls alone. They pulled me hair, stole me comb, that's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is a curtain, 1 to 3, please won't you tell me who is she? Albert Mooney said he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Knock on the door and they ring on the bell, oh my true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow, rings on a finger and bells on a toe. Old Johnny Murphy says she'll die if she doesn't get the fella with the roving eye. Let the wind and the rain and the hail blow high, snow come tumbling from the sky. She's as sweet as an apple pie, she'll get her own lad by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her ma when she gets home. Let them all come as they will, for it's Albert Mooney she loves still. Ah, poor old Dicey Reilly, she has taken to the sub. Poor old Dicey Reilly, she will never give it up. For it's off each morning to the hop, she goes in for another little drop for the heart of the rowless Dicey Reilly. Thank you. I'm going to finish off with a thing, and we'll have a chance for, I don't know how, but chance for some questions, but we'll talk about that again. And this is has become the official national anthem of Dublin, and it's called Molly Malone, and my friend Terry is there as well. And no, Terry is not related to that Malone, I think, or maybe he is. But a statue representing Molly Malone was unveiled on Grafton Street by the Lord Mayor of Dublin during the 1988 Dublin Millennium celebrations. Now, nobody really knows the true story of Molly Malone because there's different versions and all over the place. But in 1988 in the Millennium celebrations, they decided that the 13th of June was going to be declared Molly Malone Day. And they decided that even though they didn't know a lot about this, that what they would do is that they endorsed a claim for a Mary Malone who died on the 13th of June 1969 and proclaimed the 13th of June to be Molly Malone Day. So nobody ever said that the truth stopped the Dubs from telling a good story. Now, if you ever go to Dublin on a Gaelic football day and the Dublin team, which are the Dubs, are playing, and you make your way up to Hill 16. Now, this is the official anthem of the Dublin team, and it's called Molly Malone. I'm going to finish with this, and as I say, if you've any questions, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'll leave it to Natalie and the tech crew. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheeled a wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so was her father and mother before. And they all wheeled their barrows through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Well, she did. She died of a fever. But if you ever see the statue in just off Grafton Street, and she wasn't very well dressed for, what would you say, bad weather. She died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels her barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Well, I wanted to thank you all for joining, and especially the crew from Dublin. There's lots of friends of mine, Joe and Shay there, who I played in a band with. We were looking at it was 55 years ago when we started playing with the Blasket Sound, and then Terry Malone, Terry and I had many adventures together. We played in a band called Turlock and that. So I want to say hi to all that old crew there, and also to all the friends we have in Alaska, and those of you who are outside Alaska as well. You know, thank you for joining. And I'll tell you, it's not as easy as it's really hard. This is the first time I've ever used Zoom as well, so I'm happy to be zoomed with it. You know, so again, thank you for signing in. And Natalie and I are going to prepare some. Now that I've retired and in this terribly sunny place, we're going to actually prepare some themes like we looked at, but go into it in more detail of the history behind all these sort of things and put them up on a channel eventually, you know. So again, Sláinte, and thank you for thing, and be careful out there. Bye. Well, we better go. Where are we going?
Why?
Yeah, I think you should.